Chapter 25. The children of today are tyrants. They talk back to their elders, slobber their food, and annoy their teachers. Socrates. Walking down the gangplank, I'm anxious to rejoin my friends on Alcyon. The wind ship has been idle here in Fiji for 2 months between expeditions. I know everyone is anxious to get back to work. Life is always more fun and full of challenge when people enjoy their jobs. It is a wise and fortunate person who chooses a career which offers pleasure as well as personal satisfaction. It is just after sunrise, and no one is topside yet. I pause for a moment to revel in the anticipation of another expedition about to begin. I delight in the wonderful feeling of a light tropical breeze bearing the fragrance of fresh fruit and cooking smells wafting in from a seaside open market. People are walking the street in colorful sarongs as the seaport awakens to another day. Stepping onto the windship, I industriously pound the deck with my feet. The racket brings Thery and Kepkin hurrying up from below. It's Steve, Thery says, yells to the men below, and he has presents. The rest of the crew rushes to the deck to see what I have brought. Whenever I join Alcyon, I bring a wealth of boxes which contain everything from ship's spares to new clothes and mail. It's like a mini Christmas in July as everyone begins opening the boxes. For Capkin, who runs our dive locker, there are new masks and fins. For the engineers, there is a moment of high excitement as they discover filters and pump parts which will make the wind ship's reverse osmosis water makers more efficient. This is important because there is never enough fresh water available aboard a ship at sea. Anton is pleased. We can finally use the automatic dishwasher again. Not for my dirty pots and pans, smiles Bruno, the chef. You will still have to scrub those by hand. Cousteau t-shirts, shouts Thery. There is an immediate rush as everyone looks for their size. Capkin, I interrupt his pursuit of a extra large t-shirt by holding up a pair of triple extra large rubber booties. For your oversized feet, my friend. What's this? Anton is holding up a heavy cardboard cylinder. It is an old invention with a magical new twist, I reply with a grin. Really? Anton is intrigued. He rips the cover off and peers inside. Hey, it's just kites. Kites! Captain runs over. I love to fly kites. These are magic kites, I tease. We are going to do something really radical with them. Look, they have the Cousteau lady on them. Capkin has unfurled and is busily assembling a kite. Who made these? My wife Cindy, I answer proudly, but she has made them out of special material with extra heavy-duty construction. Can anyone guess why? Are they fighting kites? Anton is fingering the kite's twin harnesses where the control strings attach. Yes, they're designed for aerobatics. However, we'll be flying them underwater. I answer, eager for their reactions. Underwater? Anton is astonished. Cool. Capkin, as always, is totally enthusiastic. This is a great idea. I grin, acknowledging the compliment. They are made with lightweight nylon, and the spars are extra strong for flexibility and add strain. The tails are short to reduce drag underwater. Kites can't fly underwater. Anton is not convinced. Yes, they can, I answer, because water is more dense than air. A mile per hour underwater current is equal in force to a 30-mile-per-hour wind. Kites will fly underwater. Let's go try 'em. Captain is ready to go. We can't, I reply. Jean Michel says we have to wait for him. He will be here tomorrow. The following morning, Jean Michel arrives, and Alcyon gets underway for our next step on this round the world exploration of discovery. However, it is several days before we get the opportunity to test the kites. Our first few dives we spend working, capturing reef life on film, and testing a new set of underwater lights. Finally, and barely soon enough for Capkin, we go on the kite dive. Actually, this will be a regular working dive. However, we are going very deep, over 160 feet. This means we will end the dive with long decompression stops at 30, 20, and 10 feet. Jean Michel decides that we will test the kites during the long and boring decompression stops. The deep dives are always exciting, and this one is exceptional. The reef we are diving is a vertical wall. We descend quickly down the steep sides. The reef wall is alive with passionate colors of vibrant marine life that slowly fades in color as we go deeper and deeper to where the filtered sunlight barely reaches. About us, the reef turns shades of dark blue, deep green, and lifeless gray. But it is all an illusion caused by the lack of natural light. My main job underwater when we are filming is to hold the movie lights. In my hands is a metal frame that contains 16 brilliant projector bulbs. It is like carrying a miniature sun underwater. I play its intense beam across the reef, and wherever the light beam touches, the reef's magnificent colors spring to life. It is like painting with a ray of light. A black tip reef shark swims into view. I splash 4,800 watts of blazing light across its side, which causes the shy animal to flee in alarm. At 165 feet, we encounter a huge school of barracuda, and there are hundreds of them swimming close together like a living metallic curtain that my light beam washes over in a broad, glistening, reflective arch. The barracuda's scales glitter like diamonds as they bounce the light back into the twilight of deep water. Swimming into the vast school, the fish part before us like a pulsating silver wave that reforms as we pass. It is a beautiful dive that ends all too soon. My decompression meter indicates that it is time to leave. I wave the light to capture each diver's attention, then signal for all to ascend. We swim up slowly, never faster than the smallest bubble from our last exhalation. It is to prevent our getting the dreaded bends, a diver's malady from ascending too fast. It is a long, slow ascent as I watch our bubbles bouncing in a long, buoyant chain toward the surface. At 30 feet, we reach our first stop to begin our decompression. I signal the Zodiacs waiting above us with my light. The engineers quickly stop the generator that drives our lights, then pull them up into the inflatable boat. Anxiously, we watch the bottom of the Zodiac. Then one of the engineers jumps into the water. With rapid strokes of his fins, he swims two kites down to eagerly waiting hands. Despite the fact that flying kites underwater was my idea, Jean Michel and Capkin wind up with the kites. We have selected an ideal site for the test. The divers are somewhat sheltered from a strong 2 knot current by the reef. Its jagged wall also allows them a place to anchor their feet. Yet the kites will be exposed to the strong current. Surprisingly, Jean Michel is first to launch his kite. Capkin, in his excitement, has managed to get tangled in the control lines. Jean Michel's kite takes to the water, just as Cindy designed. It climbs, twists, and turns just like a kite caught in the wind. But all of its movements are in slow motion, which adds elegance to the maneuvers. Jean Michel flies it past a sea fan that is bent horizontally from the curtain. Then he uses it to chase a coral trout that quickly seeks refuge in a crevice. Capkin, finally untangling the string from his fins, mask, and scuba tank, launches a surprise attack on Jean Michel's kite. As the two divers do battle with the fighter kites, passing fish stare in wonder, then flee in alarm. The extended underwater war carries us through the 30 and 20-foot decompression stops with no apparent winner. I am eagerly waiting to see what happens as Jean Michel crowds Capkin's kite close to a giant clam when Theory runs out of air. First of all, this is not an entirely unusual circumstance. Theory has breathed his scuba cylinder dry, which means he needs to transfer over to one of the decompression cylinders dangling beneath the Zodiac. Only Theory, caught up in the excitement of the kite war, is too far from the safety cylinders. He begins to swim frantically in their direction, but I have heard the distinctive hollow ring that a scuba regulator makes when the air pressure is low. Instantly, I swim to Theory's side, offering him air from my regulator. The standby tanks are not far away, and together we make the short swim buddy breathing. 5 minutes later, Jean Michel gets the advantage when Capkin is distracted by an eel peering at him from a hole in the reef. The experiment and our decompression over, the team swims to the surface and climbs into the waiting Zodiacs. I won, pronounces Jean Michel, thus concluding the first ever underwater kite war. Excuse me, Jean Michel, I asked. Didn't you notice that we had an out-of-air situation? But of course, answers Jean Michel, and I knew you would handle it very well. I, however, was involved in an intense underwater warfare. And you won, offers Capkin. So what's your point? Jean Michel asks me, as he admires his kite. Well, I thought I might get to fly one of the kites, I offer lamely. And you shall, smiles Jean Michel. However, this is my kite. Maybe Capkin will loan you his. The kites were, of course, a big hit. Often at Anchorage, we would fly them off the stern of the Windship. When Jean Michel told his father about the kites, Jacques Cousteau asked Cindy to make several hundred more, which he took to Russia to give to the children. They made a festival out of it. The sky over a dismal industrial town on the Danube River abruptly came alive with a multitude of colorful kites and the sound of children laughing. The afternoon after our kite dive, Capkin and I fly our kites in the tropical trade winds. We laugh together and wonder why some people labor at chores they don't enjoy. The world is full of opportunity for those who are willing to risk a challenge. Life is meant to be exciting, mysterious, and full of adventure. Why should anyone choose less than that? The only injustice in life is that I haven't gotten a chance at challenging Jean Michel to an underwater kite duel. Moreover, when God gives any man wealth and possessions and enables him to enjoy them, to accept his lot and be happy in his work, this is a gift of God. He seldom reflects on the days of his life because God keeps him occupied with gladness of heart. Ecclesiastes 5:19 and 20.